Another thing that you've mentioned for completing tasks that it could be everyday tasks, daily tasks, home chores, whatever. You say that checklists help a whole lot in doing those things. So let's talk about checklists.
If y'all listened to or watched our confidence podcast, this might sound a bit familiar, which is good because it means you were listening. But checklists help because it helps prioritize things you need to do, and writing things down helps it get more solidified in your brain to help you remember later on. And also, crossing off things off the checklist is very satisfying. It helps you feel better, helps you feel more accomplished. So there's honestly so many good things about checklists.
I can attest to the whole crossing things off my checklist. Well, two things real quick. One thing, when I write something down, even when it's not on a list, as long as I just write it down, kind of like what you said, just writing it down will help me 10 times better remember that I need to do that later. Mm-hmm. Whereas if I just think about it and then go right back to my whatever task I'm doing, I usually forget. Or maybe I'll remember like, oh, I had something to do, but I don't remember what it was. But if I wrote it down, I'd be like, I had something to do and I wrote that down somewhere. I can usually find it at least. So writing things down, I 100% agree with that. And then having a list to check them off or to scratch them off. Like I just got a whiteboard, I don't know, a week or two ago, and it's been really helpful. At night when I go to bed, my brain just thinks. I have trouble turning it off. And so when I'm thinking about stuff I need to do the next day, I'll come over to my whiteboard and write it down on my list, the things I need to do the next day. Then it helps me go to sleep better and blah, blah, blah. But then when I get up the next day and I sit down at my desk to do my work, I can look at that list on my whiteboard, and it's way better for me to get things done, to focus on the tasks that I'm wanting to get done most. And then so satisfying at the end of the day, like, oh, I completed this one, erase. Completed that one, erase. And I make new room for me to do the next day's task. And it's just, it's little increments of progress that snowball into a much healthier and happier me.
Well, it sounds like it's working for you, so that's good.
I think so.
Sounds like it is. I do the exact same thing, but instead of a whiteboard, I have the Notes app on my cell phone. So if I'm out and about, I remember something, I just quick get on my phone, I can type it in, and then again, I can erase it later when I finish the task or whatever it was that I wrote down. So I do the exact same thing because I'm not going to remember. Like, I'll remember I needed to do something, but I don't remember what it was I needed to do. So the Notes app on my phone really helps with what you were saying of actually remembering what it was you needed to do.
That's cool. And a lot of this stuff I'm just realizing is not so much about helping yourself. Well, it is helping you focus on certain tasks, but it's helping your brain not have to worry about all the other stuff that could be distracting. So if I need to pay my bills, let's go with that one again. If I'm needing to pay my bills, but I have all of these, I'll have a meeting at 8, I have a lesson tomorrow at 10. If I have all this stuff in my head that I'm not putting down somewhere, maybe on a notepad or whiteboard, or for me, something that's helpful is I will make a reminder on my phone and say, remind me tomorrow night that I have a lesson on the day after, and then I can not have to think about it and not worry about that. And then it's much more helpful for me to focus on whatever task I'm doing, whether it be paying bills or whatever. So yeah, a lot of the focusing comes on eliminating distractions.
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind. For me, that's comes in the forms of reminders, using the whiteboard, using these random notepads laying around, which I need to organize better.
And that goes to help de-stress your life when you've written down things, like having the checklist. It helps prioritize and de-stress. And then speaking of checklists, there's 3 different examples that we've thought up.
Let's see. What are your examples, Peyton?
The first type of checklist, I would say, is just one that everyone does. It is a checklist that has everything you need to do written down on one list.
So basically just one piece of paper or whatever, and it's just whatever you need to do in no particular order written down, spaces to write down, dishes, pay bills, take kids to soccer practice, go to tennis lessons, whatever. Just whatever you can think of, it goes on there.
Yes. And
what's that one good for?
It's good for getting all your thoughts down in one place if you don't have time to like prioritize things. And if you just need to jot things down because you have bad memory, just throw it on there, and then you can cross off in any order you like, whether it's, going straight down or crossing off the things that you just happen to be doing. This is probably the most common just because it's the most, I guess, easy just to kind of go straight down, just everything.
Is it efficient?
I personally don't like it because it's kind of overwhelming to see everything you need to do. It kind of brings stress back into your life, visually seeing this long list of things to do. So a way to help with that is we have a checklist number 2 example. And this is what Calvin does. So, Calvin, do you want to explain this one a little bit?
Yeah, let me see it again. So, on my whiteboard, let's use that. So, basically, there's different tasks that I need to do. So, bullet points, you can say. So, pay the bills or edit videos. Let's use those 2 for example.
So, that would be the different tasks.
The headline for my number 1 task would be pay bills. But then, apart from that, I might have a different set of steps that are required to pay bills. Like, well, first I got to go to the mail and get the bills. Then I have to open the bills. And then I have to check online whether I can pay them there or how I pay them. And
you have to actually organize and sort through and sit on the floor.
Sit on the floor, sort the mail. So I might have micro steps that are more of a routine for me that I can check off. So I kind of, I guess in a sense, I have 2 checklists. I have one, like, these are the things I need to do, pay bills or edit videos. And then I have separate checklists for each of those tasks that once I'm on that task, to help me focus and get it done more efficiently, I'll go to, if I'm editing videos, I'll go to a Word document and it'll have 10 steps or however many to edit my videos. Well, import the videos, blah, 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 compress the videos, edit the videos, stuff like that. And that's helpful for me because on my whiteboard I can see, I need to pay the bills and edit my videos today. Okay, that's way less overwhelming than having all of the steps that I need to do for each of those tasks up on the whiteboard.
So to some people, they might just put, this would be 3 things to do. Edit videos, pay bills, and then wash the dog, or whatever the 3rd example was. So some people would just think, okay, 1, 2, 3 versus, 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, and so forth to help kind of make sure it's done correctly. And if anything, it kind of gives you a little bit more satisfaction of crossing off things. Like, okay, I got the mail. I sorted it. Now, next I have to do this, this, and this. So it kind of gives more satisfaction of crossing things off. So this would be a good, almost beginner kind of checklist because it kind of helps you get more in the habit of it.
Is that passive aggressive?
No, it's not supposed to be.
The checklist you use is for beginners. Let's see what an expert uses.
Well, no, it's good because it helps.
I think it's helpful.
It is helpful. Whatever works for you.
Just teasing.
A 3rd type of checklist
for experts
is what I do.
Oh, this is what Peyton does. Let's see. And you're like the organization pro and focus pro.
I try to.
I don't actually know if you're a good focuser, but you're definitely good at organizational stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Big word. So going off of checklist 1 of just the long list of things that's overwhelming, what you do is you take that long list and you prioritize it with high importance, normal importance, and low importance.
So in checklist 3, Peyton basically has top priorities, and then you can put whatever you want to do, what you for sure want to get done that day in top priorities. And then you have normal priorities, after I get done with my top priorities, it would be helpful to get these done. And then the low priority would be, if I'm really feeling energetic, really feeling focused, well, let's get these done because I need to do them sometime.
Mm-hmm. I think this works really good for me, at least, because it kind of helps if I'm super lazy. So if I'm like, I don't want to do anything, but I need to do this, whether it's like paying the bills, which is kind of pretty important, or like calling your doctor, or calling someone about like financial aid for school. And then, so those are things that need to get done. So it kind of helps make things easier in your head to think about, instead of having that long list of just doing these few things, and then maybe a couple normal, and maybe like one low priority of vacuuming would be a low priority for me.
My therapist gave me this really cool sheet of paper, and it was basically like, anxiety, I don't remember the exact quote, maybe I do. It said something like, anxiety happens when you feel like you have to do everything at once. And so that, for me, I know is true. Like, if I don't have the checklist, if I'm less organized, if that makes me less focused, and then I feel like I don't get anything done. And then it starts building in my head like, oh, I'm not doing anything with my life kind of thing. So that's when my head will start telling itself, like, I have to do all of this stuff. But once I have checklists, they're helpful in like, oh, well, to do 100 things, you have to start somewhere. So here's the top priority. Let's do that. Okay, got that done, checked it off. Ooh, that felt good. Like, I'm making progress towards my goal. So for me, it helps a lot.
So having checklists do help de-stress your life. They should, at least, if I guess done correctly, and actually utilizing them, they will help.
But maybe there's some points where, if you're new to checklists and they're maybe overwhelming, and
that's what that
stressful.
one checklist one of just all writing them down, it could be overwhelming. But yours, I think, is very good to help calm people down, because it kind of just makes you focus on the smaller things versus like the big picture could be overwhelming. Kind of helps
very much
talk you down a little bit. So I think that's why it's good for those who are just starting out and not get overwhelmed by anything.
Sorry, Nassus has a fluffy beard. Is your fluffy beard? Can you see it?
Yeah.
He's playing with his little baby lizard. That's so cute. Oh, focus. Sorry. He was just like staring at me with his fuzzy beard. It was cute.
Focus, Calvin.
Focus. All right, back to focusing.